Hello everyone, in this video we will discuss about growing onions in garden. Today's video will teach us how to grow onions in containers. Onions can be grown from transplant sets or from seeds. Onions are a cool, seasoned grub that grows easily due to their hardiness. Individual onions can be harvested by midsummer. Subscribe to Amazing Garden on YouTube and press the belly button to never miss an update. Please use a medium-sized container. To start the seeds, it should be at least 4 to 5 inches deep and have some drainage holes at the bottom. Use a mix of 50% or composed and 50% sandy soil. You can also use ready-made seed starting mix to get your seeds moving in this oil mix. Onion seeds can be stored for 2 years, but new seeds have a higher germination rate this fall as the seeds age. Spread the seeds evenly over the red soil surface. Breasts are gently lowered to be shown. When the seeds come into contact with moist soil, cover them with a very thin layer of the same soil and mix it with your hand to ensure proper seed-to-soil contact. This will promote better seed germination. Water the seeds with a gentle shower, soaking the soil without washing away the seeds now for better germination. Keep the pot pointing in the right direction, and add water whenever the soil begins to dry up slightly. For a high germination rate, keep the soil moist at all times. After 5 to 6 days, onion seeds will begin to germinate. The seedlings have been growing for 50 days. At that point, they only have 3 leaves. Seedlings can be planted in larger containers that are at least 10 to 15 inches deep and as wide as possible. Think about using tubs or other large containers. Check that the bottom of your container has enough drainage holes. The soil must be well draining and nitrogen-rich. We will use 40% sandy garden soil for this. Bulb development will be influenced by 40% wormy gumbos and 20% fine sand, compacted rocky or clay depth soil. If the onions are more densely seeded, the roots will hold the soil together more firmly. Gently tease the onion seedlings up one by one for planting, and always plant healthy seedlings as they grow into healthy and large bulbs. Weak seedlings should be discarded, but you can grow them separately. To grow green onions, make a 1/2 inch to 1 inch hole in this soil mix, and gently insert the root part into the hole from the soil around the plant. We will plant 50+ plants in this pot to provide some support. After a few weeks, we will harvest half of the plants as green onions. That is why we are carefully planting these seedlings. Plant onion seeds instead of sad this year for a bountiful harvest of these lovely bulbs. Growing onions from seeds allows for a wide range of shapes, flavors, sizes, and colors. To grow, choose a location that receives 6 or more hours of direct sunlight per day. You can also grow your onions in poly bags or grooved bags. Use bags that are at least 18 to 20 inches in diameter and 8 to 10 inches deep. We will plant red variety onion seedlings in this grow bag, leaving a 3 to 4 inch gap between 2 seedlings for better growth. For healthy growth, space the seedlings 3 to 4 inches apart. Water thoroughly and place the bag in a sunny location once the seedlings have been transplanted. Seedlings will gain energy and begin to stand straight after 2 to 3 days. You can also start onions using onion sets, and then set the small onion bulbs that are sold in gardening-specific leaves. After about 2 to 3 months, they develop into a full-size bulb. The top root is the pointed section, and the bottom root is the spread section. Onion plants are voracious feeders that require constant feeding in order to produce large bulbs. Apply nitrogen fertilizer at planting time. Before planting, many organic gardeners will add an inch of compost to the bottom of each row. Alternatively, dig a trench in the soil about 2 inches deep and 3 inches wide, then fill it with about an inch of compost. Bury onion sets 2 to 6 inches apart, gently pressing them into 1 inch of loose soil. If you want to pull immature onions as scallions, use the closer spacing. Plants should be spaced 4 to 5 inches apart, and rows should be 12 to 18 inches apart. Set the bulbs so that the point end is facing up. Maintain a light mulch layer over immature bulbs to protect them, retain moisture, suppress weeds, and allow air circulation. Do not cover newly sprouted onions. To get big bulbs, fertilize with nitrogen every few weeks. When the onions push the soil away and the bulbing process begins, stop fertilizing. Replace the soil around the onions. The bulb must emerge above the soil. Onion plants do not require consistent watering if light mulch is used. It is sufficient to apply about 1 inch of water per square foot per week, including rainwater. If you want sweeter onions, add more water. Water frequently during hot spells to discourage bolting. Intercrop onions with tomatoes or carrots in closely alternating rows to deter thrips. However, plant the bulbs in this soil while keeping the pointed top. However, above this high level, water thoroughly and place the bag in a sunny location. To keep some said suburbs, multiple shoots will be produced. That means you can easily harvest 2 to 3 bulbs from a single bulb. Dig the upper layer of the soil every 8 to 10 days to keep it off. Keep this soil to help the bulbs grow large and bloom. We did this so that the onions would not have to compete for nutrients and water in space. When the soil begins to dry out, the onions frequently advertise, and they should never be allowed to dry out. The monkeys destroyed some of the plants early in the morning. However, we still have 75 to 80% of the crop, and that will be more than enough to finish the cycle. They can be harvested as green onions at this stage. Harvest half of the plants as green onions and leave the other half to grow as onion bulbs. Harvest them by pulling the in-plant from this soil will divide the green parts of the onion, are flavorful at this point. It is best to fertilize them after every 15 to 20 days with nitrogen fertilizer. To get big bulbs at this stage, you can bend the top, grow to speed up the maturing process. When the top grows, this will also increase the size of the bulbs. When your onions begin to turn yellow or dry, or when they begin to bloom. When they are ready to harvest, loosen the soil around the bulb with your hand and pull the onion out of the soil by the base. To store the onions, place the bulbs in a container such as a plastic tray or box. Make sure they're properly ventilated right now. Allow them to kill for 4 to 6 days in a warm and dry shed outside of Derrickson. Loosen the soil around the ball with your hand and pull the onion out of the soil by the base. At this point, in addition, the envelopes can be stored in bags or braided together and hung up. At this point, in addition, the envelopes can be stored in bags or braided together and hung up.